Hello and good evening to you.
Welcome to Alternative Lifestyle, showing you God's perspective on daily living. And we're still on the series Family First. Pastor Julius and Mary here, your hosts, and we're glad to be here this evening. Now, those of you who watched Alternative Lifestyle this week, you will have realized we recorded live like we normally do.
We did.
But for some reason, the video disappeared from Facebook. We have no idea what happened.
I don't know.
And we have no means of contacting Facebook, which is a real shame.
Yeah, we're not sure if Facebook deleted it or
maybe it was an accident, but anyway, the video just disappeared. So because a number of people have been asking because they wanted to watch the replay, we thought it'd be a good idea to record it again, but obviously not live this time. But we trust that you'll still be blessed.
Yes.
And if you were with us live, we trust that as you watch the replay, you will also be blessed.
Yeah.
So this week we are talking about the big question.
Yeah.
So still along the lines of trying to understand each other. Yes, trying to understand our spouses. So we have some big questions that you may have always wanted to ask about members of the opposite sex, not even necessarily your spouse, but just wondering why are men like this or why are women like this. So we have a few questions that we're going to be going through this evening. And even though this is not live, do feel free to leave your comments because we would like to read them.
And we will respond to each comment where required.
Yes, and feel free to share the video as well. We always encourage you to share the video so that others can be blessed by it. And obviously, feel free to like the video.
Like our page as well if you haven't already.
Absolutely, like our page as well. Timeless. Okay, so the first question. Why is he now just telling me of his plans as he's getting dressed to go out? So that is a lady asking that question.
Why do you assume it's a lady asking the question?
No, I'm telling you it's a lady. it was a lady that submitted the question.
It was a lady.
He says, why is he?
Why is he?
Yeah,
okay.
So why is he just telling me of his plans now as he's getting dressed?
Yeah. If that ever happens, it's not something to be commended. It should not be recommended either, and it should be avoided as much as possible. The Bible clearly says, "Can two walk together? Can two walk together
unless they're agreed?
Except they be one." Yeah, So how can you work or walk together if you don't have a clarity on what the other person is doing? If you're doing something, you owe it to your spouse to let them know well ahead of time. Of course, there are times when emergencies will pop up, but even then, you communicate immediately to them that this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it this way. I'll be home shortly. That kind of a thing. We should aim to carry each other along.
Absolutely.
All the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only where you're expecting the person on board even. I think even if it's just for information purposes, so you're not expecting them to go to the function with you, but just so they know what you're doing. I think it's important to communicate. It's about communicating, isn't it? But I don't necessarily think they obviously, then it's not a deliberate act of slighting.
Maybe they feel it's not that important, maybe,
or maybe it's just oversight. Some people are not as organized as other people. Ladies tend to be quite organized.
I don't know about that.
Well, yes, I think so.
I'm not going to get into an argument in a recording.
Ladies tend to be quite organized. Generally, I think ladies tend to be quite organized.
Have it your way.
Yes. So I think that maybe that's it. So but gentlemen, it's important to communicate. Obviously, ladies.
I think it's safe. It's safe. It debunks any opportunity for wrongful thinking. Where is he going? Is he seeing somebody? Is there somebody else? All of those questions might pop up.
And just for planning, for better planning, because she may have had plans for that evening. Maybe she wanted to surprise you, and so that could just ruin everything. So next big question: why don't men ever remember what you ask them to do around the house, especially?
That is such a wrong question.
No, hang on. She explains. It's not a question of I told you what to do. No. It says, for example, where to put their shoes.
Okay.
Not to press the toothpaste from the middle.
Who said it's men that press? Okay.
Always to pair their socks before putting it in the laundry basket. So why all these things? They might seem petty, they might seem little, but they're important. Why do you tend to forget and make the woman say over and over again?
Well, I think sometimes some of these things may be important to you. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. You know, what you're saying is important to you, and you clearly see why it's important. But the other person sees that it's important, but it's not a matter of life and death.
But not everything is a matter of life and death. There are few things that are matters of life and death.
So let it go then.
But you can't always not take something seriously just because it's not a matter of life and death. So the shoes, for example. I identify with the shoes.
I understand with men who may feel like, you know, I'll just squeeze it under the chair because I'm going to work tomorrow morning. I'm going to wear those shoes. So rather than me going up and down, I just put it neatly out of sight.
But you're going to sleep in the room. You're going to get dressed in the room.
Well, so one less thing to worry about in the morning.
No, it doesn't look nice, as you will agree. I agree. It doesn't look nice in the living room. There's certain things that are meant to be.
What if it's hidden well out of sight?
I can still see if I walk into the room.
You will see it.
I will see it, and anybody who walks into the room, to be honest, will see it. So shoes are meant for the closet, just like plates are meant for inside the cupboard, not under the chair.
No,
you know. Yeah. I mean, the toothpaste.
Not beside the bed.
Not beside the bed. Yeah. I mean, the toothpaste one. You know, you might say, "Oh, come on," but I think it's just what people are used to.
The thing is, we often subconsciously want people to be like us.
Yeah, that's true.
And that can be a problem. You know, that can be a problem. The reason why God brought us together is not so much that we will necessarily be alike, but that we'll be united regardless of
and we will complement each other.
We will complement each other.
So that's a good point actually. So if you're used to squeezing the toothpaste in the middle, the reason God brought me in your life is to teach you to squeeze it from the bottom.
Or the reason God brought me into your life is that you will consider squeezing in the middle.
The middle just doesn't look good.
Who said?
Okay, not only does it not look good, it's a bit cumbersome as well, because somebody actually said, when I now want to use it, I have to squeeze from the bottom.
Please yourself.
And squeeze all the way and make up all the spaces to get to the top.
Yeah. But as much as I see the point on the other hand is, I mean, things like putting your shoes, your clothes in the living room should be avoided. But don't make a big deal
of everything.
You know,
you have to let go of something.
You have to let go.
So that you have to let
otherwise,
go of
they will just put it on the bill, you know, like, oh yeah, there she goes again.
There she goes again, and that's a conception or a misconception that I think most men have. This idea of there she goes again.
Yeah.
And that might be the reason why
they tend to go on.
Who is they?
Well,
who is they?
I'm not saying nothing.
They don't tend to go on. Seriously, I think we should address this. I think men should take that misconception out of their minds, because I think they tend to think that women tend to go on and on before the woman says anything.
They go into that mode.
They go into that mode of there she goes again.
Right.
Instead of actually listening. So I think men need to reorientate themselves in that way and stop thinking like that. The socks, I can definitely identify with the socks.
I get it, but again, you know, if they're going to go into the washing machine, chances are they're going to come out together out of the washing machine. So.
Well, it just makes it difficult to find both pairs of the socks.
Well, maybe in a big family like ours, it could be.
In the laundry basket, because socks are tiny items, aren't they? If you don't pair them, one might be at the top, the other one at the bottom. So she now has to search, and if she doesn't wash them together, chances are you will never wear those socks again. Yeah. So it's quite important. So let's listen to each other. Yes. Why don't men like discussing issues? This is serious. They would rather just leave things alone.
Yeah. I don't know. Am I like that?
Well, you are not like that, but I think lots of men are, because I have heard lots of women complain about this.
Yeah.
Men don't like to talk about things, even if it's something important that's affecting the relationship. They don't want to discuss it. They just want to kind of not say anything and maybe hope it will go away.
It will go away. It could be because of upbringing. You know, maybe their dad was never expressive. He wasn't the emotional type. You know, he was the man of the house. He dealt with stuff, and he was the macho one. And sometimes we misconstrue machoism or being a man to being tough, emotionless, and all that kind of a thing. You know, I think communication is important in relationship.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't say it, how will it be understood? And it's very, very important that you understand each other.
Yeah.
You know, communicating with your spouse is a way of saying that you trust them, you value them, and you want to hear what they have to say about that matter.
And it creates a bond between you two, because when you think about it, how do you become friends with somebody? How do you rate how the reason why somebody is a real friend and the other person isn't a real friend? It's because of the closeness, the things you've shared with each other. So when you're able to together. And to really share from your heart, you know. So if you are able to share with your partner like that, it actually makes them feel closer to you.
Yeah.
It makes them feel like you trust them. You can trust them with your emotions, with your thoughts. So it's quite important, and especially if there's a problem, it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away just by sleeping on it. Sometimes you need to really talk about it, hear how the other person is feeling, because feelings are important.
I think it's important. You know, I mean, like there has been times in our lives that we didn't just talk things through between you and I. If it affects the children, we'll call the children and talk it through, hear what they have to say, because everybody is valuable and everybody has got valuable points to make. So listening to one another doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. It just means that you're actually making an effort to include everybody. And it's a leadership skill that we all have to learn, that being inclusive in your decision making gives momentum to your decisions.
Yeah. And okay, so when we identify one of the or two of the reasons, I suppose, why men might not want to, or some men might not want to discuss issues. One you said was perhaps upbringing. Maybe they were not brought up in a kind of home where they saw their father being expressive in that way. And
maybe their mom never demanded it either.
Exactly. So what can the woman do then? Because I'm just thinking, what can the woman do? So we've agreed it's important. So what can the woman do to help the man come out of that place and to be more expressive and more communicative?
I think she needs to be patient. She needs to understand what kind of a man she's got married to. And then just kind of win him over how he used to be, and of course lift him up in the place of prayer, because you know that prayer makes tremendous power available. To changing situations. And the man himself needs to work on himself. Because when I was growing up, for example, I knew and I heard of things in my neighborhood, in my sphere, and I said to myself, when I get married, I'm not going to treat my wife like that. You've got the Spirit of God in you. You know what is right and what is wrong. So you cannot always hide behind the myth. That's how I was raised.
And that's how I am. Because we have to be prepared to change.
That's how you've chosen to be.
That's not how you've chosen to be. Maybe that's just how you found yourself to be. But you have to be open to change. Just because you love your wife and you love your family and you want a healthy family, you have to open up yourself for change, so that when your spouse begins to express, and it could be female even, because I'm sure there are women who don't want to talk, so it could be either way. So when your spouse starts to say, you know what, I think we have a real issue here, we need to talk about this, rather than closing up and saying, no, I don't want to, that's not my style, to understand, well, this is important to her, or to him, so I'm going to open up myself and I'm going to be welcoming this change.
Absolutely.
So why do some men prefer for their wives to take the lead sometimes? For example, taking the initiative. No, it says that is taking the initiative, for example, when it comes to matters involving the children, where to go on holiday, etc.
Fact of the matter, though, because I can almost see me in this category of people who would allow their wife to take the lead in certain things. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. The fact of the matter is, a lot of women are very meticulous. They are very detailed. They are the ones who look for definiting things and making sure that things are impressive. And a lot of men are just, not that we don't pay attention to details, but hey, I've got a lot to do, so I'll just carry on with what I've got to do. So it could be an inherent ability in men to delegate, to say, well, you know what, I'm going to get on with doing other stuff. I'm going to get on being the head of the family in this other matter, while my wife takes the leadership in other things. I don't think it should be seen to be a negative thing. Maybe there is room for improvement, but it shouldn't be seen as negative.
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't be seen as a negative thing. But I think from a woman's point of view, they want the man to show interest in these things.
I can understand.
Yeah, especially things to do with the kids, because generally most men will just leave it to the woman. But she wants to know that you actually take an interest in what the kids are doing in their activities. Come up with the initiative, so you can say, you can come up with the initiative and then delegate. But don't leave it all to her to come up with the initiative, do everything, because it's kind of.
Are we talking about social things or generally? Because as a dad, for example, I would be very particular. I would be very interested in what subjects my kids are doing, what courses they're going to do at uni, what career they want to do. I would be very, very particular about that. But if it is, what judo class should they go? Where should we go on holiday? Hey,
I think it's all of it. Yeah. It just shows the woman that you're thinking about it.
Yeah, so that's what I've come to learn in 22 years of marriage. That's why, for example, you would want me to be involved, because you don't want to feel like you're imposing.
I'm a single parent.
Yeah, or you're imposing this thing of doing stuff together on me. Maybe I don't want that kind of a
thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't want to feel like we're doing it just because I want it. I want to know that you want it as well.
Which is understandable.
Yeah. So even if you don't do all the planning,
at least get involved.
And come up with the ideas.
Yeah, and once in a while, hijack the family and say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to go ice skating or something.
Yeah, I think women love that because it shows that you want to be with the family and you want to do stuff with the family.
And it thrills women, definitely. They love it. They definitely.
Okay, so next question. How come when I say A, he hears ZYRTX 1586? In other words, how come when I say something, he hears the completely different thing?
As you know, to hear and to listen are two different things.
Yes.
And most of us lack the skill set to listen. We know how to hear, but we don't know how to listen. We were brought up to hear, but we weren't brought up or educated in listening. And it is a skill that you will have to learn to help you develop as a person. When you listen to people, you understand them, and everybody chills when they feel understood.
When they feel listened to. Because I remember, I think it was an episode we did 2 or 3 weeks ago, the very first one about understanding your wife. That was a point that came out strongly. Women want to be listened to. You don't necessarily have to do what they're asking, but they want to feel like their view has been heard. And a lot of the time when we say we're listening to somebody, we're not actually listening to them. We're hearing them, and we're just waiting.
Got our response ready.
Just waiting for them to
tapping
finish.
Away our foot.
So we can say what is on our mind. So all the time we're thinking about what we are going to say in response to what they're saying, instead of actually listening to them. Not only to what they're saying, but also to what they're not saying. Paying attention
to details, looking at their body language, making eye contact. It's important.
And even just understanding in between the lines. So what they might really be saying to you is, I'm feeling lonely. And but what they're actually saying in terms of verbal words they're saying to you is, you come home too late.
Exactly.
You come home too late, and then you're saying,
why are you accusing me?
I come home too late. I'm working for the family, but you're not listening and hearing what she's saying. She's saying she's lonely because you're leaving her alone too often. So yes, I think it's a skill that both parties really we all need to develop.
We all need
that skill to really listen to people and hear what they are saying.
Absolutely.
That way you're not hearing ZRYTZ
paying attention
when
to
they're
details.
just saying hey. Okay, so we have one from a man.
Okay.
Why do women take so long to get dressed?
Why do women take so long? I don't know.
Well, no, don't point at me. I don't take so long to get dressed. Most of the time,
long enough.
Most of the time, I'm waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's true. Most of the time, I'm waiting for you.
Sometimes, very seldomly.
Well, no, most of the time. So, men, the bottom line is because we like to look good.
Okay.
We like to look good,
which is good.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But I will say to the ladies, because you know how long it takes for you to get dressed, yes. It might be a good idea to start maybe 30 minutes before the man, give a head start, because I think
that's a wise step.
Yeah, because I think in one of the previous episodes somebody actually said her husband left her.
Yeah.
Because she was taking too long.
Somebody told me that he knows of instances where the man will arrive church and the wife is not there, not because they had a fight, but he's tired of waiting.
She's taking too long. So, try and get yourself organized. Get your stuff
Start
out.
much earlier.
The day before. Don't wait till 30 minutes before you're ready to leave and then you start to say this or this. Yeah. Begin to choose.
So just wear anything you want to wear. Let's go.
So start early. Because I don't think the man will complain about how long you take to get dressed. If it doesn't affect the timing of things.
You can dress all night if you like. Just get ready when we're ready to go.
When we're ready to go, let's go. So ladies, let's bear that in mind. Amen. Okay, so next question. Well, see, this is a man asking now.
Okay.
And he's asking, why does she press the toothpaste in the front or in the middle of the tube? So when it's my turn, I have to squeeze everything to the front before I can use it. Yeah. So it just shows that it could be male or female.
It could be. Even this putting stuff around, it could be women.
But I think it's mainly men.
I understand, but it could well be a woman.
Yeah, I think some people it probably has to do with our personality as well. Some people are meticulous and methodical in how they think and how they do things.
In some cases, a little bit too chronically methodical that it becomes painful.
Just chillax a bit.
Exactly.
Relax a bit.
This is not a clinic. This is not a hospital. This is not a surgeon table. It's a home. Come on, let it look like a home.
Okay, but not too much though. We still need order.
Yeah, of course. We want the house to look nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but like we said before, don't make Himalayas out of a mold. Don't make a big deal out of everything.
Yeah, because when it becomes a big deal, then it's pointless, because as far as he's concerned, everything is a big deal to you. So when it's really a big deal, he doesn't really want to know because you've made a big deal of everything else. So live and let live.
Yeah, that's it.
Live and
that's
let live.
the trick of relationship.
Because we're not perfect either.
Exactly.
I know we're almost there, ladies. We're almost perfect, but we're not quite perfect.
Yeah. So we are the perfect one. You're the almost perfect ones.
No. God made us to perfect you. You said you weren't good enough on your own. God made us to perfect you, but we are not perfect either. So. Okay, so the very last question.
Who said this is the very last question?
Oh, I've got a question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you ask yours first.
Well, the question I have is, why are women always so particular about this preparation before intimacy? That's the best I can say, because there might
be sex.
Yeah, because there might be under 18s watching this.
Why are women particular about preparation?
So particular, yeah.
Because of the way we're made. We're objects of love. God made us to be loved, and for us, love is not just an act.
Yeah.
It's a whole emotion thing. It's the whole prefix, as it were. It's the whole preparation, as you put it. So
it's almost a celebration.
It's a celebration. So for us, sex is not what happens.
It's not an event.
It's not an event. It's something that you start from the morning, from a little look.
Morning, I don't know about morning.
Yes, I'll tell you. From the look you give her, from the text you send during the day, the words you say.
Man, are you listening? It's easy, isn't it?
It is easy.
Just give her that bedroom look in the morning before
absolutely. The cuddling up when you're watching TV. Don't act like she doesn't exist the whole day, and then you get in bed and you say, "What's up?"
Yeah.
What's up is I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep. So of course I know I will deal with sex in another program in greater detail. But of course, ladies, we know that it's not every time that we can have all this,
But as men too, we
stuff.
just need to learn that sex is not something she does to you.
Absolutely.
Sex is something you have together.
I was going to say that. I think if men get that mentality out, it will help. Because a lot of men, when they complain about sex, what you hear them say is, she doesn't make love to me often enough. She doesn't give me sex. They see it as something for the woman to do, as if it's a chore, an added chore, just as she has to cook, she has to take care of the kids, she has to give me sex. No, sex is something that you do to each other. And when you start to approach it like that, and see it as something that you do to each other, that you enjoy with each other, then you will understand her needs and put her needs into play.
And when you begin to do that, it becomes more enjoyable.
It becomes more enjoyable for her.
She gets more into it. And you will realize that she will say yes more often than she used to.
She won't even wait for you to ask. She will be more open. Let me put it like that. More open and more ready. So before I ask the final question, I've got my own question.
Okay.
Why don't men shut cupboard doors? Seriously, I watched a movie of this couple that were secret agents for a day. And in that movie, they went to a house and it was dark and they were doing the investigation with torchlights. And the next thing, she banged her leg against the door. And she was saying, "You never shut cupboard doors. Why?" And I thought, for them to depict it in a movie, it must be true.
It must be.
Why don't men shut cupboard doors?
It is a lot to being a man. There is a lot to being a man. Being the spiritual head, being the provider, being the leader. It's a lot. And closing the cupboard door, come on, let somebody else do that. Get away what you have to do. Let somebody else worry about that. So
but seriously, come on, you walk into the kitchen and everything in the cupboard is right there for you to see. There's a cupboard door for a reason. It looks nice when all the cupboard doors are shut and everything is just tidy in its place, hidden away behind the cupboard
Sometimes
door.
it takes getting used to. Some people are just, it's not absent-minded. It's just, I think it comes from this thing of some people not paying that much attention to details. So they get something from somewhere, they leave the bottle open.
Yes, it is being absent-minded.
But the more you commit yourself to saying, I'm going to live the spot the way I met it, that's the least you can do. And once you have that mindset, then it's a lot easier.
Okay, so why don't they? Why don't they? Because if we understand the why, then we can help them.
I don't think there is a why.
Just can't be bothered.
No, to say that's negative, because it seems like it's a choice. It's not a choice. It's not something he decided to do. It's something that just happened.
But when he's now told over and over again,
I'm sure he's improving. You just didn't notice it.
It's not me.
No. I know it's not you. But what I'm saying is, even then, you would notice, unless it's not a man who cares. If he cares about you, he will be making progress. But the problem with us is the minute he leaves it open again, we'll go off the lead and say, well, that's what you always do. But I've been making an effort all these days.
It's difficult to understand how you can open a cupboard door and then.
Is it that difficult to understand?
It is.
Really?
Because it's not a natural thing to do, to open it and then to shut it.
But and you have a house full of men, so.
Oh my goodness!
God help you.
And our kids are even doing it now, so I'm trying to teach them, call them all the way from downstairs, come and shut it, so they know that's what they're supposed to do. Because I don't want their wives 5-7 years down the line repeating the same thing.
I'm trying to
understand why men don't do it. So okay, this is the last question for today. Just to remind you, please feel free to leave your comments. We would like to read them later. I know we're not live.
We're not live, but we are live by the grace of God every Thursday, 9 p.m. GMT.
Yes.
And we would usually leave it there for people to watch and enjoy and share afterwards. But join us on Thursday, depending on what day you're watching this.
And we hope you're being blessed. We hope we're helping you. It's sure we can't really interact, because when we interact, then we can answer questions live. But we hope we're blessing you. So the final question, it says, why do women tend to run to the good, nice guys for emotional healing after a bad breakup?
Big question.
Then pick themselves up and go into another bad relationship, leaving the nice guy feeling dejected and questioning his worth.
Yeah. You know, I really don't know.
I know.
I've often wondered from secondary school, the bad boys get all the good girls.
I know, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Why do women do it? I think one reason that I can think of, and if you can think of any others, ladies, please feel free to put your comments down. But I think one reason that I can think of is we ladies, well, they say men like to conquer, but I think also you ladies like to feel special, and so you want to feel like you're that special person who will make this man change.
Right.
But you don't understand. Yeah. You people think like that. You think he's gonna love me so much that because of me he's gonna change his ways and he's gonna want to settle down. And we think we can break him. We think we're the ones that can break him.
Right.
So I think that's one of the reasons. Another reason could just be because we don't understand our self-worth. And we think the problem is with us and we're trying to prove ourselves to this person. But the problem is not you. If this man cannot see that you're worth it, he's not worth wasting that time.
A man who does not love himself cannot love anybody else. And trying to force yourself on somebody who doesn't care. Trying to make somebody love you, come on.
It's not possible.
No.
It's not possible. So ladies,
a man or a woman can only give what they have.
Yeah.
If they haven't got it, they haven't got it to give. You know, and so there's no need trying to resurrect a dead horse. You know, there's no need trying to prove a point that you can get a hard man. And from experience, you will see that you only end up getting hurt.
You end up getting hurt. That's exactly what happens. I mean, a man should be able to recognize gold when he sees it and diamond when he sees it. So you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. You really don't.
Anybody who demands that you prove yourself doesn't love you the way you are.
Yeah, and I think they just play games with your heart. You know, they play games, make you think you're winning them over, and then they do something and they hurt you again. It's really not worth it. Find a nice guy, the one we call Boboko nice. Yes, find a nice guy to marry. The nice guy
one,
that will.
You, darling?
Please, let's not let's find somebody nice that will take care of you. That will take care of you. You know, all that macho thing. It's
you can be macho
and
nice.
Living for Clint Eastwood, living for Clint Eastwood. But so that was the last question.
Yeah. And please, just so that we make it clear, we're not saying that every man or every woman is exactly as depicted.
Yeah.
There will always be the exception to the rule, and certain things that we painted as being peculiar to men could be the other way around.
Yeah, it could be applicable to women as well.
But what we were trying to do is cover the average sort of things, the commonalities, in humans.
Yeah, but the thing I've learned from the last 3 programs actually, when we were talking about men and women, is to a large extent what the man wants and what the woman wants. It's not that different,
No.
It's just sometimes in the expression of it, in the expression. The man wants to be loved, the woman wants to be loved. The man wants to be honored and respected, the woman wants to be honored and respected.
Absolutely.
So it's just sometimes the expression of it is different.
The communication.
Yes. So we're not really from Mars and Venus. but we are different.
Yeah.
We are different, and sometimes God brings different people together to complement one another.
I think you were saying something. Was it you saying something? No, okay, yeah. It was a friend of ours that was saying it, that this myth of finding somebody like yourself, and then you
probably kill each other. Imagine if you were both, so methodical and so particular about things. The pillow has to be here. The shoe has to. You probably kill each other, but because you're kind of slightly different,
you complement each other.
Yeah, you complement each other.
You bring the best out of each other.
Yeah, you kind of meet in the middle. This one that is to one extreme. You train them to understand life doesn't have to be like that, and I think that's how it's really supposed to work. I think with marriages especially, we're supposed to rub off on each other and be better people as we do that.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us this evening.
We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we pray God's blessing. We often do that. We pray God's blessing on you, that you will be overwhelmed by the Father's love, that you will be able to give it away freely, that you will love yourself, because a man or a woman, first of all, have to love themselves. So they have to value themselves, because if you don't value yourself, nobody else will. So may the boldness and the peace of God overwhelm your heart.
Yes, and may your marriage be an oasis, a place of love, peace, and just security for you and your whole family. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on Alternative Lifestyle.